see you again. All right, my friends, listen, this one coming up is going to be a barn burner, I can promise you, all right? It involves a lot of our favorite people and Andy Berman. And this is the Interrogated Men of the SBPD. Right, so we're going to talk shop with the men of the SBPD, but remember, I know I'm getting tedious, folks, but please remember on your socials, go ahead and tag Journey to Events, please. Add Journey to Events in your socials, just to keep the kind of like messaging going on. All right, no more of that from me, at least for the next 30 seconds. All right, coming out here, folks, the men of the SBPD, they are here to be interrogated. They're our first men of the SBPD. It's hard to say, right? That would be Officer Carlton Lassiter, Detective Carlton Lassiter, Timothy Amundsen. Henry Spencer Corbin Burnson. And of course, medical examiner Woody Strode, Kurt Fuller.
The Woodman.
And let's welcome our moderator and my dearest friend for 65 years, Andy Berman.
All right.
Nice entrance.
Look at that. Thank you. Thank you. This is a super treat for me. I would want to do this. If it was just Sunday, normal Sunday, this would be like my dream to do this. So now that I get to do it in front of like couple thousand people, it's really great. But to get these three guys together and to have this time, I don't know where this is going to go exactly, but there's a place I'd love to start. Because when we were doing the show, it is the 20th anniversary, when we started in 2006, I was not a father, but these guys were all dads. And I'm always like late in life pulling the trigger on everything in my life, and it just hadn't, it's not that it hadn't occurred to me, but I hadn't gotten there. And so it also wasn't in my sphere to talk about kids or to talk about fatherhood or to even be curious about that. I wasn't sure that was even going to happen to me in my life. And since the show is off the air, I've become a dad. So I have a 6-year-old daughter named Edith. And now that's my world and what I think about all the time.
Wait, do you ever go, Edith?
Edith! And so now I have to play big catch up on fatherhood. So I'd love to just start it off in a way, just talking a little bit about fatherhood and getting some of your wisdom about certain things. One, I'd like to know the best advice that you ever got from your fathers, and if you pass that down to your kids.
Well, my dad, when I got LA Law,
Yes.
it was never enough. He kept,
Boy, this is immediately going
We get him a
dark.
pillow out here, and you want to like lean back?
Yeah. No, it was, what's next? What's more? Now, at the time, I and my mom and everybody else said, leave him alone, he's having fun. But it wasn't enough for him. And within that, and I think you guys know this to this day, I keep trying, I love this. I mean, first of all, I have to say something very personal. What you guys are out there, to me, to a guy at 71, that I get to experience this is extraordinary, so I love you. But my dad made me want to really, he just said, keep going. You think you're at the top of the hill, you're not. And I think he meant it a little differently, but how I received it has propelled me to sit here to this day.
But that's great. But is there a top of the hill then, or is that a myth? And are you cheating?
Is what?
Is the top of the hill a myth, or do you actually get to the top of the hill?
You know, it's the way you look at life. I don't think you ever get to the top of the hill.
Yeah.
It's not my thing. I don't want to get to the top of the hill. I don't want to know if God exists. I don't want to know anything. I just want to keep climbing toward all of it, toward the light, toward truth, toward love. You know, that's all I want to do. And it doesn't matter to me, these things we put at the top of the hill. They can be there or not, but if you never go to the top of the hill, you're always climbing.
So this is like a later in life realization in a lot of ways. I've seen you like come to a lot of wisdom later in your life. But when your dad gave you that advice or put that into your head about it's not enough and keep going and you got to get higher and, you know, the value, you learned that later. Were you young enough that you were able to tell your own kids, give them that wisdom that there is no top of the hill, that it is about the journey?
No, what your kids do is they learn from you and what you are. I've been with my Amanda for 37 years. They know what it is for a guy.
You can applaud for that. That's
You know,
Hollywood.
They have an image of what it is for a man to be with a woman and dedicate his life to her. So they have that. I don't need to say, you need to dedicate your life to a woman. You live and learn by example, and that's really what I tried to do. And my example is they see me, look, you know, we just recently put this little show together I did. Oliver directed it. They see me still trying. A lot of guys at 71 would just quit. Oh, I'm sorry. Here we go.
No,
Here
can I
we
just
go.
say
Mr.
something?
Kurt, you can weigh in now.
Okay, well, first of all,
Go ahead.
coincidentally, when you got LA Law,
Yeah.
my father was disappointed. Okay? So there's that. So why don't you back off, because I will come at you real hard.
You know, man, anywhere,
Age
anytime,
jokes, that's
any
so
day.
funny. Ha ha, you're old. Ha ha ha. I will say, my father grew up during the Depression. He was,
That says a lot.
yeah. I mean, I'm old. My father lived to be 90. And both my parents, and I thought maybe this would make me only, you know, we used to have a joke, Fullers, we rise to the middle. You know, ha 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 ha. But my parents always made me feel like if I tried my hardest, that was enough. And there was no top of the hill. There was only the personal milestone of doing your best and giving it everything. And well, you know, and that is what I learned, and that is what I've taught my kids. You know, there's so many parents I see who are so invested with their children winning. There is no second place. It's super aggressive. And I personally, you know, I think you're going to have some neurotic children. So.
Uh-oh, I'm going to cross that off the list.
Yeah. Andy, and so my advice to you is,
all right.
So they always,
Stop telling
that's
me that.
all I've done is my best, you know? I'm not someone who has ever been a natural at anything. I'm not a natural athlete. I am a natural wit. And I'm not a naturally talented. I mean, I think Tim Amundsen, who I've done theater with, and he is a person who was born to be a performer, born to be an actor. He has it in his DNA. And for me, it's just I've always worked my hardest to do my best. And that is what I recommend. Do your best and don't give up.
Yep.
That's great. That's great. Tim, do you have any thought?
Kurt, thank you. You would say natural born performer. I just call it liking to be the center of attention and be precocious and wanting people to look at me. My dad was not big on sort of parenting advice, but I would say now that I am older and also have a couple, because there were four of us, and I've got two. I think what Corbin was saying was living by example. Like, he was great in terms of not necessarily words, but setting the example of like spending time with me and just being present. And just the fact that the greatest gift you can give to a kid, I think, is your time. Absolutely. I mean, the days like just.
Yeah.
I guess certainly with what happens in my life, I've now realized like it is so precious, and there's moments that I've had, and not being. There's times like I've just recently gotten back to hiking again, and there's this one trail I used to go with my daughter Lily and our dog Lucy quite often, several times a week, and there's a trail that I can't get to anymore because it's just physically too difficult. But we've discussed that the fact that I'm hiking it again, and she's so appreciative of the time that we did actually make it to the top of that trail.
Yeah. By the way, Tim, it reminds me of a story, and maybe I've told it before, maybe some of you have heard it, but I think Corbin did say it with the living by example, right? Because I was never inside of your homes, inside of your households, although I do have one very funny memory of Tim. It's a double Tim story, but when Tim called me, had a question about something with the script, and it was when he was back in LA. I think maybe I was back in LA or Vancouver, I don't know, but he was at home in his family life. I had always seen him up on set. And he was on the phone, and he was trying to tell me something about the script, and he said, I think that maybe, don't pop that! Don't pop that! So no, I had it, it just was so funny to me that you were talking about popping a balloon, or the kids were doing something, one of your daughters was doing something like that, and I always thought it was a funny story, and now I can completely relate to it with a 6-year-old about that multitasking kind of thing. But living by example, what happened to you, Tim, with your stroke, before that, there was a very famous hike in Vancouver called the Grouse Grind. And it was, I don't know if anyone's ever had the chance to do that, but it's treacherous, really, and it's kind of an achievement if you're not in tip-top
It's a rite of passage if you're in Vancouver.
Because, you start on and it's sort of gradual, but it very quickly gets kind of steep, and then it just almost goes like a straight incline.
Forever.
People that are in really good physical health, I don't know, they can run up and down it, but like for me, I got invited to it finally after probably a couple seasons, and Tim was one of the people, Dulé was one of the people, Maggie was there, James was not, and I got invited to, James eventually did
James
climb.
hiking not so much.
He doesn't like to hike, but he eventually had to do it out of competitiveness, but I went there, I was invited into your guys' world that weekend to go on this, and I was very, very nervous about it because I'm not physically fit that way.
I have pictures of you in front of the sign that says, warning, you might die.
You might die.
There's warnings at the trailhead. It's like, this could kill you. And a shot of you just not looking really excited about it.
And I'll never forget this though, but we got about we got about a third of the way up, which to me felt like we should be 10 steps from the top already. And it just said you're 1/3 of the way. And I had a panic, and I was like, I was already exhausted, I was breathing heavy, I was like, I don't think I can do this. And Dulé turned to me and he said, listen man, if you don't think you can do it, you got to turn around now, because we're headed up to the thing, and we're going to get to the top, and we're all going to have a hamburger, but if you can't do it, don't do it. And I was like, I was debating about turning around and not doing it. And Tim came up to me and he said, hey, we're going to do this together. You can make it up this mountain. We're going to do it together with you. One foot in front of the other. You had like a chocolate bar, like a dark chocolate bar. You're like, shared a piece of it with me. You'll get a little energy. I'm with you. We're going to do this together. And you kind of gave up your moment in a way to just have your freedom to go up that hill and think about me. And I made it to the top of that Grouse Mountain. And I was like, the moment that I would never count you out, because I knew you would be here today, you walking out onto this panel, against all odds, because you were that guy back then. So you talk about showing up or being that person, no matter what happened with don't pop the balloon and whatever was happening in the chaos in your household, you have led by example, and your daughters, I'm sure, can see that every living, breathing day, how you do that. So.
Trying to make me cry already?
No, but I think I'm very mushy now because I think about this stuff, that's what happens when you become a father, right? You just start thinking in all kinds of different ways and looking at your friends in different ways. So I do want to ask, was there anything, because as actors it's different, there's a lot of fathers out there, there's not as many actors, was there anything as a father that made you a better actor, or things that you did as actors that you think lent itself to be a better dad?
Well, I could have never done this thing without my kids. I think one of the first things I was mentioned, you have some sons. I have 4 sons. So I had 4 different versions of Sean
3 too
that I had to deal with. I was have to say one thing about Grouse Mountain that I had not thought about till this moment. I had heard everybody doing Grouse Mountain. So I felt like, well, you
Here
got to
comes
go.
Corbin's story about how he climbed it in a record time or something.
No, this is Corbin's story how he thought, I'm going to outdo all of you. And I rode my bike to Grouse Mountain. And then I did Grouse Mountain. By the time I got back, and this is like days where it's not easy, but like I have a bike and no legs, and I could not figure out how to get back to, I think I ditched my bike so I could get in a cab and go back. Yeah, because I had to do, yeah, thanks, Dad. I had to do better than anybody.
I used to run around Stanley Park.
Well, naked, from what I recall.
You know?
Well, he ran because he was being chased by women.
Yeah.
Yes.
But can you see him running around a park naked? That's hysterical.
The man has been on television on an escalator in his underwear. I don't. You know,
I think I've paid my dues.
guy that would be.
Nothing funnier than an old man in a Speedo. I will say, becoming a father, I have 2 daughters, and I started out playing bad guys, authoritarian figures, then funny bad guys, and you can only do that for so long, because if you play bad guys, then when you show up in a movie or something, you're the bad guy. Everybody knows it. It's not a surprise anymore, and they stop hiring you. And it wasn't, honestly, until I had children, where something about me, you know, they say the camera doesn't lie, well, I always used to go, oh, that's BS. But I didn't get hired to be a father or a parent or even a softer, more empathetic person until I had children. And it wasn't anything I thought about or decided to do. I think it was just something that happened to me.
That's
It
really
just,
interesting.
Yeah, it's just something in my genetics or subconscious changed when I had children.
That's really interesting. Do you remember the role, your first role in that form? Like, not just as dad, but like that wasn't the bad guy that gave you that other dimension?
It was a sitcom by the people who did the Wonder Years, okay? So I thought, oh, it's a winner. And I was playing a doctor in an office, but a nice kind of, sort of a level B Woody, kind of befuddled doctor, but nothing like Woody. And it was on after Roseanne. They put it in their primo spot.
Oh, wow.
And it was gone in 4.
By the way, can we talk for a second about Kurt Fuller and his career? Because it's Hollywood's best kept secret that he's here for this role, Woody Strode, but he has 2 careers running parallel that have been running parallel since like 1979, where you can turn on your TV. The people that know Woody, that you guys that know him, don't know that when you turn on Scandal, he's some very serious senator who may have murdered somebody or blackmailing somebody. He has 2 separate careers running parallel to each other. It's fantastic.
I had to put 2 children through school.
Yeah.
I never said no.
Oh wait, I gotta mark that down. Put children through school. Hey,
Never say no to a job.
Yeah.
never say no to a job, yeah.
Write that one down. Yeah, I know for me with the biggest thing that having kids, like there was this kind of this paradox. The minute Lily was born, my firstborn, something really shifted to me where it's like, it was this gift where there's auditions, the pressure of, on one hand you think the pressure would be greater because you gotta get a job, but then it became something like, there's something so much more important than this job, than just getting this audition. I remember there was like a really sort of paradigm shift in I became much more relaxed auditioning. Because it was just like, there's something more important than whether or not I get this stupid job. Yes, of course I need the money to support these children, or this child, and then the future one, but that was just this shift. I just sort of lightened up. That was me and kids and what they did from acting.
Really? Because I have to say, for me, it was like, man, I got to get a job. I would wake up at night like this in the middle of the night thinking, I got to get a job. But where's it coming from? Because we never know, you know?
Right. I think it was more like the ego of, there's something more important than me if I don't get this job.
Oh, yes.
And of course,
Yes.
cash is nice.
Well, also I mean, this is the success story, right? You're seeing the version of, actors that have built big careers and had the success and somehow broken through, and everyone has their own personal story of whatever that struggle was. But now with your kids, when you think about that, do you wish that for your children? Do you not wish? Are you split between the idea of you got to pursue something that was a dream and something that's inside of you, that you're an artist and you get to do that, and then you look at what the odds are, the crazy odds and all the practicalities of life that you now know about and all those struggles. Are you torn when you're sitting down with your kid or your kids about which path for them to take? Do you say go for it and no plan B, or do you say I don't wish that for them because of everything that I had to go through to even be here?
My mom was always a have a plan B kind of person. I was like, and I just generally rejected it. I was like, no, because if I have a plan B, I'm going to fall back on that. Well, my dad, when I was growing up, my dad was sort of, the guy who worked with numbers, so I didn't know him as a creative at all. And one day a trunk arrived when his mother passed away, and this trunk, like his childhood showed up, and there was a photo, not his youth. There's a photo of him, like this very sort of handsome man singing in front of a microphone with sheet music in his hand. I was like, Dad, like, what the hell is this? He's like, oh, that's me singing a song I wrote at a piano bar in Helen, Montana, in like 1958. I'm like, what? So my dad was a frustrated saloon singer. Like, he always wanted to be a big band singer. So when I sort of came to him and said, I decided what I want to do. I want to be an actor. And he just went, okay. Because he had never really followed that creative dream. So he fully encouraged me to do it. So, and both my kids are creatives. And now I'm like, if this is what makes you happy, it doesn't matter. I mean, whether you're successful or not, but you have to try. Otherwise, you'll regret it for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That's my take, boys.
My mom's message was similar, and when I decided to act, she said two things. Don't do it for the girls and the money and all that stuff. I went,
I got it.
Well, pocket that for a second. But she said, I want you to go study. And so I skipped where I was going to school, went to UCLA, got my degrees, I studied, I learned to do it. Many, many years later, I realized it wasn't so much to study it, to learn the craft, which you do, but you learn that on the job also. It was because you put the time in, you learn to love what you're doing. I love sitting right here, and I mean this from the bottom of my soul. I love being right here with you as much as I would any day I'm on a set saying, roll action. The feeling I get, it's not just like entertaining people, but this thing we do where we get to talk and you listen and we hear you laugh and feedback and we make a show and you watch the show, you show up here. That relationship, that's the best thing in the world. And my mother taught me I won't get there unless I really love. I teach my kids I don't care what you do. One of my sons is a dog walker. He loves it. And he's the best dog walker there is. And there's a part of me that's like, okay, there's like, my dad, well, you can do better, and he's so fucking happy walking dogs. Excuse my language, but I've learned to go, as long as you love it, man. I can't leave this earth with anything greater than knowing my kids love what they do and love the people they're with. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that says it. It's just funny. It makes it so clear, right? I mean, love what you do, find your passion, and do it. That's the most important thing. When I look at my daughter, obviously, I think exactly the same thing. I don't care what she does. I don't care. I want her to be a good person, a kind person, and to be happy in some way. But we're also filled with the baggage of what comes along with that. That I'm split sometimes and going, God, I hope what she wants to do, like I would love for her to want to do all this. I can't think of anything better than living in this world and doing that kind of thing. But I almost want her to not have that so that she doesn't have the suffering and the angst and the battle and the fight that goes along with it. But maybe that's life too, I don't know. But
well, in this business, we get a chance to know a lot of extremely successful people, many of whom are miserable. who got to what you would think is the top of the hill, and you get to the top of the hill and you're still not happy. It can be devastating.
Because you think it's the top of the hill.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah, and you think, I mean, it's why people jump off the Golden Gate Bridge. They move, hope things are going to get better and better. Then they get to the edge, they're still not happy, so they jump. Okay.
Thank you very much.
A little something.
Okay, it's fine.
A little something you can take home with you and share over the dinner table with your children. Since I'm such a good father.
Do not let Kurt anywhere near your children.
But my father, when I said I wanted to be an actor,
jumped off a bridge.
Andy, you are stealing. It's called stealing
I don't
focus.
have the glasses I need to read. See if
There's
any questions from
21
everybody.
minutes left.
Go ahead, please keep talking.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to read the questions off the thing. Get some.
Oh, the questions.
Yeah.
You want to get to the questions? I get.
No, I just was
everybody else got to talk, but
something
I'll
as
stop.
next year when you're
No, you're doing a wonderful job.
No, we're
wonderful.
gonna have a panel that's just moderate.
We should complete this though, because I think we left it.
All right. Let's.
We don't have to go to the question. I'm enjoying this, but I want to make sure that everybody.
Let's go to.
All right, let's go.
No, your message has been received loud and clear. Shut up, Kurt. Nobody cares. Okay.
No.
Just like my parents made me feel. Thanks, Dad.
The first question was for Kurt. They want to know if after this panel, you would like to go to the Golden Gate Bridge and see the sights.
Maybe the Golden Gate Bridge story was a mistake.
It sort of killed the conversation. Oh, God.
You can't take things back, by the way.
Which character do you think of your characters would be the best dad in real life? Which I know is ironic because the show is about a father and son and you were a dad in the show, but is there somebody, between Lassiter, Woody, Henry, what kind of fathers?
We know who it's not. I'll let them talk.
I would think being your kid, Woody's kid, would be a blast. Hey, all your friends would be over like, let's go listen to Woody's dad.
If he lived to puberty, he would.
By the way,
he would be
who's the
fine.
happiest character on the
I am.
Would be Woody.
Yeah.
In that bliss. I mean,
You would almost say I'm the most
Henry,
well-adjusted.
We know what he passed down to Sean, and all of that, and we know. I mean, Lassiter. Oh my gosh, his kid would be under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
To, be a certain kind of.
I think it's Henry.
I'd rather be Woody's kid, and somehow.
You're just trying to make me feel better.
Yeah, but can you imagine the day at school
I
where
think-
it's take your dad to work day and tell him about what you do? Yeah, tell him what you do.
Doesn't Moonfry have a child?
I do. Yeah, I have a daughter.
Yeah, with
With what's her name?
Butterfly Moonbeam. I can't.
Not Butterfly. No, it was.
Oh.
Who? Andy, Andy, focus.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. You wrote the gosh darn show? I said
Yes.
gosh darn. Who was my wife? She cheated on me 12 times with 10 men.
I know the storyline. I wasn't there that day for that.
Okay, but anyway, whoever that was, we had a daughter together.
So I will go to the first question. It's from Mindrella, who's asked a lot of good questions. What is the most interesting story you have about a real-life interaction with the police? Whether it is funny or scary.
Well,
You're currently going through some legal things, aren't you, currently?
I do have a real story.
Oh.
I spent a night in jail once.
Yeah, that's what we were waiting.
Yeah, I know you want to hear that one. I was in a friend's car, and we get pulled over.
How old were you?
I was 19, wearing very tight pants, platform shoes, a sequin top, hitting the Sunset Boulevard during the heyday of rock and roll.
Let me set the stage.
Yeah, so my friend pulls over and parks under this no parking sign above Sunset. And sheriff's car, mean West Hollywood sheriffs, meanest there are. And guy pulls us over, and I'm like, other than I'm dressed really how I'm sure you detest, I'm good. And he searches the whole car, and he pulls down the visor, and a joint rolls down onto his lap, and he goes, "What's this?"
That was a prop, right? It wasn't.
No, it was not a prop. That was real. It was my friend's brother's car, and we went to jail for it. We went to jail for it, and I spent a night in jail and thought, like, this is not a place I ever want to be again.
Marijuana was a bad drug in those
And your
days.
friend was Cheech Marin.
It wasn't even mine, though. No, it wasn't even my friend. It was his brother, who was a delinquent.
And Arnie Becker was born.
And Arnie Becker was born.
You got it.
But yeah, a night in jail. Yeah, that was,
I feel like half the story is not being told. The other side of that when you were at the jail.
Well, there was a guy looking
They give
at
you a
me.
bologna sandwich or?
There was a guy looking at me. No, I can't do it in this crowd.
Okay.
No.
Corbin, don't.
It was not nice. It was
Don't go to jail is what you're saying.
Don't go, yeah. Don't
Nobody
do drugs.
else.
Stay in
Nobody else
school.
had an interaction with the cops, with the police,
Well-
real life.
I want to answer, Kurt, did you enjoy singing during Psych the Musical?
You can answer that. Let's see who asked that question. We should.
Terry Kennedy?
Okay.
No.
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 That's for Corbin.
Somebody moved the damn thing. Whoever. It was somebody. Do we have to call out their name? Is the price is right?
It would have been nice.
Come on down! Anyway, I did. I was involved in a traffic altercation on Westwood Boulevard and Pico Boulevard in Los Angeles, where somebody in a Jaguar just moved around me to take the left turn in front of me. Really upset me. Really upset me. It was pilot season, and if you guys know, in pilot season, you're trying to get a pilot so you can maybe get a series. You can get very tense. And I was very tense. And so I caught up with her.
Her? I thought it was French Stewart.
What?
I thought French Stewart was in the Jaguar. No.
French Stewart? The hell, you are ruining this whole thing.
Please go.
Hey, you are the worst moderator I have ever been in front of.
Do you remember how I started the panel about what a treat it would be to see
French Stewart, so anyway, I drove past her and threw like a pack of gum through her window. Okay. She followed me and called the police. The police show up and helicopters show up. Police helicopters show up. She's told them that I have assaulted her and dented her car and all this stuff, okay? They come out, they handcuff me, all right? I call my wife. My wife and my 2 young daughters in the back seat, because she can't leave them, comes down. And I'm there handcuffed, and the police are there, and the helicopter's there, and my wife tells my kids that I'm shooting a scene in a show. Thank God, that's my wife, is a genius. A genius. And then the police look, and the car's not dented, she's not hurt,
And there's no craft service anywhere. The kids
and there's no
clue in that maybe this is not.
But they eventually let us go. But I never want to. Police helicopters, that freaked me out, man. And it taught me to sort of count to 10, which I wish I could do all the time, but I don't.
How were we ever able to get you into Canada after that? I don't know.
I never went on my
But
record, okay?
It's not on your record. And Tim, obviously, no interaction with the police.
I have had, at this point, none that I can. You'd think if I had something interesting I would remember, but nothing. Sorry, I could make something up, but
That's all right.
Goody 2 shoes.
no, just good at fooling them. Just good at getting away with stuff.
Andy, would you like some glasses, binoculars?
The glasses
something?
are for
Okay,
reading, that's the
this
problem.
is
Okay,
pathetic.
so this is
Absolutely pathetic.
for Corbin.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God we haven't heard from Corbin yet.
The dynamic between Sean and Henry was often really difficult. You played his father so convincingly, but some of the lines looked like they almost hurt to hear when Sean and Henry would be at odds with each other. Were there ever any times you felt like they were too harsh to each other? And did you ever wish that Henry could be a little more silly? This is on theme.
Could you repeat the question, please?
So basically, they're saying you got it. Yeah.
No, I felt the dynamic between us was perfect, pitch perfect every time, because as with life, whatever you guys wrote as words, James and I subconsciously had I believe not James and I, but Henry and Sean had a love and respect for each other. No matter the words, the love was always underneath there. And that, half of it is writing, the other half is casting and the chemistry with somebody you work with. And from second one, I think it was in an audition, he came in and I read it, and he read for my audition. And it was my audition, he was there, and we just knew it would work.
Yeah.
We knew it would work. And you could write anything. I could be, hey, Sean, God damn Sean. I could do all that all day long. But it was always like, oh, he loves him.
Well, had it just been, I'll also say absolutely, all of that is true. But also, we're not just seeing one tiny snapshot, like if this was just a pilot or we just saw a scene. With the show having a life like this, and you've lived with this relationship in Henry and Sean and this father for so long, it hits all these colors and these notes. And so once we were cracking episodes that had a lot of heart to them, those moments when it breaks through and we see how much love there is between the two of you,
right,
and how it's all misdirected because you want the best for him. And
all I want Sean is to be a good cop. And at the end of the day, and this is the lesson I learned with my kids,
Yeah.
they don't have to do it your way. He was a better cop than I was.
That's right. So
That's
once you have those scenes, it buys you all the others because you see the length and breadth of the relationship the same way we would with you guys in real life. We check in you on a Tuesday at 9 a.m. It may not be your best moment with your child as a parent. But if we're looking at the whole timeline, which we
Right.
get to in this series, once you establish how much miscommunication or how much love is underneath that, then you can get away with all of that, the way they were to each other.
And when I finally gave him the knife, I passed on my knife. That's
Yeah.
where the power shifted, which was great. I'm not sure how far along that was. What episode? What season? What show?
I don't know if this applies, but this is one of my favorite improvs of all time that plays into James and Corbin's real relationship and just, wanting to get at Corbin. But we were shooting one of the Yangs. It's the first one. And it was a very, very serious scene. It was in the police station, and there were like 4 murder boards that were up, and it was all hands on deck, everybody in the station, every extra. And Sean is addressing everybody. I don't know if everyone remembers this moment, but he's addressing, he's now been put at the center, they're figuring out the puzzles, and this is this ticking clock, really big scene. And we're playing a B story thing that's just as important about Henry coming to warn Sean about the dangers of this and ask him to please not go forward with this because it actually is dangerous and you had done this. And there's a side scene where the two of you are talking, and then James comes back into the scene while the cameras are still rolling, and he goes, "I'm sorry, that was my father, and he just came to borrow a condom." I just thought that was the best improv for me. That just sort of tanked and pulled the rug out of everything that scene was about, and you coming to warn him. Did not make it to air. Kurt's looking. Can we?
The longest story I've
Wait,
ever heard.
Kurt. Here's a great question. Did you enjoy singing during the Psych musical? And would you give us a little something now?
First of all, Courtney in A5, thank you for the question. No, I did not enjoy singing during Psych the musical, and that's the answer. Because I can't sing, I can't carry a tune. I don't know if they're around anymore, but there used to be a restaurant called Long John Silver's. Remember it? Okay. I got a job as a singing construction worker on the Long John Silver's commercial with 3 other guys. And the Long John Silver theme song is 2 notes, We'd like some batter fried fish, batter fried. I got fired. Okay? Because I couldn't sing the Long John Silver song. Okay? with 3 other guys who can't sing, but apparently I couldn't sing worse.
By the way, you were fantastic, and the song came out.
I don't want to hear it.
And
I
but
don't
I
wanna
know
hear
it was a thing for you.
It took me 3 days to record that
Great.
one song.
Did great. Can we scroll up a little bit in the questions? Is that possible? Thank you.
Maybe you can walk up to
Scroll a little higher, please. Do we have more? Okay. Oh,
Scroll up.
okay. Scroll the, yeah.
Okay, you
going through?
All right.
Why don't you just make up some questions?
Yeah, okay.
What's up? Oh, no, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay, why did you choose, this is from Amy Neiman in A25, front row. Amy, there you are. Why did you choose to audition for Psych? And is there anything specific you did or said in your audition that got you the role? We touched on your audition, but yeah. How did you land here?
Why did I choose to audition? Because somebody asked me if I wanted to audition for and I may possibly get a job. I mean, it's pretty basic. Like, why did I audition? Hey, do you want to go? Yes, please.
But did you do anything, and what do you think got you the job?
You know,
Was it in your audition?
Story was, so I had just gotten the sides. It was the interrogation scene with Sean and Carlton in the pilot. And I went in thinking, I wore like my navy blue cop suit like I always did for such roles. And I go in and just, before I start, Steve Francis goes, hey, just so you know, before you start, this is not NYPD blue, this is moonlighting.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, okay, and it was a paradigm shift what I was going to do. Like because I couldn't really do that. Ironically, I had done NYPD blue, but not then as lead. But it's like I certainly was much more comfortable doing a moonlighting than NYPD blue tough guy cop. So whatever. And the audition, remember the audition going so well, and then being just so lovely and sweet that I looked and said, like, and I'm going to leave now before I say something screwed up. So
Smart.
I just knew when to get the hell out of the room.
Well, I'll tell you, my story to Psych is it's a good cautionary tale between the very thin line of what could have been and what is. And I was given a call, I was called and said, you have an audition for this new cable show on USA called Psych. And I went, I'm not doing cable, man. I want to get back on a network show. I was way back up in the LA law. Now, cable, man, what's cable? You kidding? And my agent said,
Trying to please daddy.
What?
Trying to please daddy.
My agent said, you got to go to this, gave me an address, and it was at Universal, a 22 floor building, knocking on a fire door, which is the address I had. It's a door with no handle on it. And I'm like, I'm an idiot. I know it's a fire door. Now, who's going to answer the fire door? And I called up my agent. I said, nobody's here. It's starting to rain. I'm out. They said, hold on. Somebody's coming down to get you. Took me upstairs, and I was a second away from not being in this room right now. I was a second away, and I was very serious. And it wasn't full of myself. I just thought, cable, no, man, because I'd come from LA Law, Emmy-winning big show. I want to be back doing that.
God.
Well, Kurt, if you'd ever done one, you'd know the feeling.
I did one. I worked with him so many years ago when we both had hair, and he looked much better than I did.
Isn't that fate? That's such a fate thing. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then Kurt, you knew, James, you and James had worked together.
I knew James, and he called me and asked me to come up for one episode. He said, it'll be an episode. And so the first episode was my audition, really. I didn't realize it. And the rest, I think, is a glorious history.
Well, by the way, and I will say that's what's amazing, the fate of having gotten into the pilot or having joined for an episode, but everything else is you guys. As the writers in the writers' room, and even Steve may have had lofty ideas of big thematic things of what might happen in this series and where characters might go, but the journey of it was all dictated by them. No one knew, Tim, that when you're playing Lassiter and you're the hard-nosed cop, and you're there as this foil, and that was your purpose in the series in the beginning, to be the antagonist in that way, that suddenly we'd be sitting in a fancy restaurant and you'd be doing a scene with your ex-wife, and the camera would be moving around you in a 360, and we would be opening up this, that we'd be peeling the onion on your character in that way, and that's totally due to all the dimensions that you brought up until that point that sort of demanded that we go with these characters, the excitement of it. Woody was a funny note, coming in, and then what Kurt brings to it, you see it and you go, holy crap, like the room explodes with all the ideas that could happen, and suddenly he's in his underwear going down an escalator. And, Henry, who's
was a Speedo,
the tough-nosed father in the show, and be in another way be the obstacle or the antagonist, or the person that's the conflict for Sean in that way, also is suddenly sitting in a police station wondering where his pants are, and like all the different places that these characters went over these eight seasons is all due to the magic and the performances and the
writing. Let's face it.
It dictates from, but that's where it comes from, and that's where the writers, suddenly you're the muses, and you just go, where else can we take this? And they can do that color, and they can do this thing, and once you do that,
for Kurt to come in on, was it season 3 or 4 you come in?
4.
So to come in as a guest star for one episode, 4 seasons into a show. First of all, guest starring is the hardest job in show business as an actor, because you're getting invited. I think it's your line. You're getting invited to somebody else's Thanksgiving dinner. You don't know anybody, and you just showed up and you came to play, and you immediately, whatever fairy dust we had, and we're blowing around that set in stage 5, you immediately like sniffed it up, and although it wasn't the 70s, but you just fit right in. So whatever you came to play and just fit right in, and then they went, oh, we need more of this Woody flavor.
And by the way, I was the winner because, last night Gus, which I wrote.
Andy wrote it.
But I got to do both that, to pair the two of you up, to have you having possibly slept together at the opening of the thing. To take
we did nothing wrong.
To take Woody out of the lab.
It'll always be Peaches.
To put you on your heels and suddenly make Lassiter the person that's the odd man out with, without, like, it was a culmination of all the, that's why in that episode I got to do all the things that I wanted to do with these characters. Everyone wanted a piece of Woody, and I got, and I got to do that.
We?
So we did.
And some was got a piece of Woody.
That's to the men of, SPPD. That's what you guys did as actors for this show.
We're out of time.
There. Stop. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
So much. Be good to your parents, be good to your kids. A lot of wisdom on this stage. See you guys soon.